talked about the idea of relaxation and horizontal. Next step is thinking about the hands and how you hold on to the oar. And the better the grip, the easier it is to stay relaxed, the easier it is to go horizontal. So when we think about the grip, think about how you hold on to the oar when the blade is square, therefore when you're on the drive, and where the hands feather over to is simply comes out of where you start from. So set the blade square in the water. Think about getting the wrist nice and flat, these knuckles right across the top of the oar, the knuckles here pointing straight out, and the thumb not on the hole, but just a little bit below the hole. And what it should feel like is it should feel that you're just trying to hook the oar. You're not trying to grab the oar, you're not trying to throttle it, you're just trying to hook it. Very similar to how you would hold on to a pull-up bar, but now instead of being vertical, we're horizontal. So think about being nice and loose with it so that when we get to the catch and we start the drive, we're not trying to pull the oar, we're trying to relax the fingers, relax the grip, and as we push and lean, the hands simply hang off the oar. When I get to the end of the drive and I want to feather the oar, we want to try and do it with minimum effort. And with these oars and these collars, these sleeves, it takes very little effort to feather. All I need to do is a little bit of push with the thumb against the end of the oar and roll the oar out onto the fingers. You can use a little bit of wrist, but we're trying not to get the arms and the elbows involved. Little bit of thumb, little bit of fingers, little bit of wrist. The oar will simply roll out onto the fingers. As I get to the catch, now my hand is in a slightly different position on the oar. Back here at the finish, it's all fingers. I've got a 90-degree angle. As I come up to the catch, my hand should shift a little bit, so I'm no longer just fingers and 90 degrees, but I'm much more 40, 45 degrees there. Outside heel of the hand on the oar, I'm going to use that outside heel along with the pinky ring finger and middle finger to roll the oar back up. Again, minimal amount of effort. I don't need to do it hard. I don't need to try and grab the water. I just want to roll it up gently and let the blade drop in. Less is better. Try not to force it. So while the hands should never roll back and forth on the oar, once you get that position set on the oar, I'm basically trying to glue my fingers to that spot, but the hands will pivot back and forth a little bit. The other thing with the hands is obviously there's going to be overlap. The left oar is always going to be a little bit higher than the right oar. What do I want to do? Instead of carrying the hands immediately left on top of right, I want to shift the shoulders ever so slightly so that my left hand goes a little bit to the stern, my right hand a little bit to the bow, and I'm doing this by carrying my right shoulder a little to the bow, my left shoulder a little to the stern. The key is that I maintain this differential at all times. So even when I'm at the catch and I've got room to straighten out, I still want to keep that left hand to the stern, I want to keep the right hand to the bow. As the hands come through the middle of the drive, they cross over. My right knuckle brushing against the heel of my left hand. As I come into the finish, again, I want to keep those hands offset so that as I feather and move back out, they just tuck in one to the other. A lot of advantages to this. One, we're trying to be horizontal. By keeping the left hand a little bit in front, I can be much more horizontal than if I'm left on top of right. I can also avoid scratching my knuckles with my left fingers. And once you do that once or twice, then you start to exaggerate how much differential you need and you get more vertical into the stroke. If we can just offset the hands ever so slightly, then my right hand simply tucks into my left hand and I can keep the hands nice and loose, nice and fluid, nice and horizontal.